7 years ago, I released a video covering the arcade conversion Commando that was released by Elite. And Commando, of course, was a Capcom original. The conclusion of the video was that while the conversion captured the essence of the arcade original, it didn't feel particularly well designed or executed. It was quite glitchy, the gameplay was sufficiently frenetic, but the game overall was incredibly easy, and the only saving grace about it was basically Rob Hubbard's music. But someone decided to do something about that. Hello and welcome to a look at Commando Arcade for the Commodore 64. A game that was released as public domain by Nostalgia in 2015. Commando Arcade is as close to the original arcade as you can get on the Commodore 64 without question. It features the full 8 levels of the arcade, whereas the original arcade conversion only featured 4. It has some nice little details, like at the beginning of the game, the helicopter dropping off Super Joe, which is perhaps a minor thing, but it is again something from the arcade that was missing in the original conversion. The concept is the same as the arcade original, where you are in control of a Super Joe. Yeah. Anyway, he has to fight off various different enemies while he moves towards the top of the screen until he reaches the end of the level, and will have to face off against a horde of enemies coming out from some sort of structure of whatever kind. And once those have been defeated, he will move on to the next level and rinse and repeat. The enemies that Super Joe are facing consist of regular machine gun grunts who will shoot at him and toss quite a few hand grenades in his general direction. He will bump into mortar positions, which once you get close enough to the mortar individual will turn into a normal regular grunt. Then you also have men with rocket launchers and various different vehicles that will move across the screen or park up somewhere and try to bombard you and that kind of stuff. You will also bump into a few fixed emplacements, which thankfully are relatively easy to deal with, but it adds variety to the enemy composition, of course. The graphical changes compared to the original release are subtle, but the main thing is that the foundation code has been cleaned up significantly, meaning that there's no glitchiness, there's no choppiness, there's no slowdowns in any way, shape or form. And that in its own way actually adds to the difficulty and challenge of this game, because something that was well known in the original arcade release was the fact that because the game, especially the bottom of the screen, could glitch like absolute crazy, you could not rely on it, but you could get away with Super Joe walking through bullets and grenades from time to time because the game just didn't register him getting hit. That is no longer the case in this version. If it looks like you're getting hit, you will be getting hit, because the game is very, very good at keeping track of everything. In that regard though, and that is a minor thing, but it is worth mentioning, I do find that the hit detection for enemies can be a bit off. It doesn't happen often, but it happens often enough to be noticeable. You can easily see that your machine gun stream is going through an enemy and they are just not dying. The original release only had a select few sound effects. Basic sound effects like shooting your gun wasn't, well, it might have been present, but it definitely wasn't noticeable. And in this particular version, there's been a bunch of new sound effects added, which is a nice addition. Personally, and this is on me alone, I think the sound effects are a bit cartoonish, perhaps. I mean, it's not a simulation game in any way, shape, or form. It's just a run-of-the-mill action-ish game, and I suppose the sound effects doesn't have to be particularly realistic-ish. But yeah, it's a nice thing they've been added. I will say that much. Also, new music has been added, and it is a subtle rendition of the arcade original's music. The individual being credited for the sounds of 6R6 hopefully will not take offense in any way, shape or form when I say that when I play this game I prefer to play with the original sound and music despite lacking sound effects, because of the fact that by many the Commando arcade rendition that Rob Hubbard made is considered to be one of his best tunes, and while I would not necessarily fully agree with that side, I do find that his music is... It's probably because it's ingrained, because I've listened to it so many times, but it is of an incredibly high quality, and the new music added cannot hope to compete, which I don't think it was intended to. When it comes to controls, there's a few quality of life things that's been done with this title. When you start the game, you'll access a menu where you can enable trainer mode, which thankfully automatically disables the high score saving. But you can change things like holding down the fire button to throw hand grenades instead of using the spacebar. You can still use the spacebar, but hold down the fire button for about half a second, 3/4 of a second, and super turbo to hand grenades. Meaning, of course, that you can just keep your hand on the joystick without having to consider the fact that the spacebar exists. And that, in all honesty, is a nice enough addition to this game to be appreciating the fact that it was made. Considering the fact that this version was released 29 years after the original arcade conversion was released, you could argue that the individuals behind this version had plenty of time to look at what was wrong and working out how to try and fix it. But I think you cannot understate the appreciation of the fact that it was done. There will definitely be some people out there wondering why someone would release a title like this in 2015, so many years after the system was dead and buried. But I don't think you can or should underestimate the passion of the communities surrounding old home computers and old consoles for that matter, because ultimately those are the individuals that keep the systems alive. If it wasn't because of the communities still being strong when it comes to various different systems, we would not have had the ability to still enjoy the games that we grew up with and enjoyed playing, and enjoyed listening to, and enjoyed sharing with our friends, teaming up to play the games together, not sharing illegal copies, because people didn't do that, did they? Regardless, this title to me showcased what I have already been fully aware of, which is the fact that there was an awful lot of community members who are equally as skilled, if not more so, than many established programming teams at doing programming, graphics design, and sound composition. And I can't help but wish that there would be teams out there that would look at some of these old games and make new releases of them without tampering too much with the existing material. Looking at you, gods, And I'm sure that if such a thing was done, there would be a potential market for them, but maybe it's just a pipe dream. Regardless, I think we should thank Nostalgia for making this particular version, which is without question the definite version of Commando for the Commodore 64. On that note, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye.